ACC basketball with the Maryland Terrapins trying to win their 4th straight game. A sellout as usual here in Durham, North Carolina. Coach Gary Williams now in his 7th year as the boss at Maryland, and he has rebuilt this program from the ground up. They are now ready to compete with anybody. At the other end, Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski, in his 16th year here at Duke. 369 victories, preparing the Blue Devils for a very important game. And this conference has seen an enormous change with the Smiths and the Parks having gone to the NBA. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a perimeter. Dick Vitale is with me up here in the rafters at the Skybox. Get in here, partner. Tell me how the ACC has undergone this enormous change. Everybody's shooting up the three-pointers now from the outside.
Well, Brent, you got 8 guys that went to the NBA draft. You mentioned leave it early, Joe Smith, or Maryland would have been one of the dominant teams in America, but they're guard-oriented. You talk about Rhodes and Simpkins, a solid backcourt. They've been one of the disappointing teams in the land. They got to get some W's and this game becomes big. You talk about Duke, they've been a little disappointing. They got 7 losses and they lost twice in their league on their own floor. They have to win at home.
Down in the hole for Maryland, Obinna Ekezie, the freshman at Nigeria. Like Hakeem Olajuwon, he grew up playing some soccer. Now on the other side, the Duke lineup and Greg Newton. You heard Coach Calipari and John Saunders talk about that story. Mark Jackson suspended for a game by the Atlantic 10 because of that vicious elbow he threw the other night. Newton telling me during pregame warm-ups that he accepted the apology from Jackson. He said he's put it behind him. He does not have a lingering headache, but he has a sore foot, a couple of strained muscles. So we'll see now how it holds up. The last time the Steelers were in the Super Bowl, Maryland with a big victory, and of course a lot of Maryland fans pulling for the Steelers today with Neil O'Donnell quarterbacking Pittsburgh.
Turnover on the first possession, Brent. A score by Maryland and then a turnover on their first defensive possession. Maryland jumped out defensively. Duke had possession of the basketball, and immediately Maryland with that defensive pressure. Nick Mataro's here, Sammy Croft, and Carl Hess. And their bosses here evaluating Fred Barricott. There's that full court trap. Got to utilize that diagonal pass.
Collins. And now Simpkins puts it down in a hurry. Had a numbers advantage with the miss. Cable yanks the rebound down, and Collins now brings it back to the right side.
Got to convert in transition. Collins immediately went to the 3. He and Cable is shooting between them about 41% from three-point range.
Rice misses. Booth rebounds.
Big-time rebound. Playing really well now. Has 17 points, 5 rebounds this last game. 14-14 the game before against NC State.
Dwayne Simpkins will set the table now for Williams, and they get in low. Great pass by Booth to the other side. The freshman misses, and it is yanked down by Carmen Wallace, the junior out of Wilmington, Delaware. Other end. Price with the goal.
Price can be electrical. They really like to run here, and they like to get the crowd involved early. They try to be explosive. Price is the one athlete they have who's an excellent transition player. This crowd is always special, Mr. Musburger.
Yes, it is. X-ray hip. In low, Booth rejected out of bounds. Maryland ball.
Where have you been, X-ray hip? That's the one guy that has disappeared. You look at his numbers, averaged about 15 a game last year, down to 6. His favorite player, Brent, is Olajuwon. He has never met the big fella. Why don't you arrange him, Brent? There goes Ekezie down inside. There's the block by Newton. He wants to beat him. I make the offer right now. Mr. Musburger's going to arrange a meeting between Ekezie and Mr. Olajuwon. He's from Nigeria. He loves you, Hakeem. He loves you. He's a soccer player, too. That's why he's got that good footwork. Kesey's really given them a presence in the lane. They have decided to start him the last 3 games, and they've won the last 3.
Slow start, 17:59, a field goal apiece, and Price is out on top. Dick, you like Price?
Oh, I think he's got excellent athletic ability, good transition player, good touch. I think he can go to the next level as a player. As you watch Newton score, shooting 65%. He has to develop a little bit better work ethic, Mr. Price.
Kesey, he just improved his position and hit his first field goal of the game, and that deadlocks it in 4.
There's that full court pressure, post somebody up, look to the opposite side.
Wallace follows in the first 3 of the game.
That's a plus if they can get any kind of scoring out of Wallace. He's a role player. They want him to play some defense, the rebound.
They're getting it in low to Kesey, missed the left-handed hook. Newton saves it for the Devils.
Getting the ball
Lead
inside.
pass, here's Wallace on a breakout, and Price knocked out of bounds, Duke ball.
Getting the ball inside very easily, but also poor job defensively getting back in transition. There's the ball entered now. Collins going to dump it inside to Newton. Here's Newton, they body up on him.
Capel, the 3! Capel. And suddenly Duke with 2 quick threes. They build a 10-4 lead. We've got a timeout. Only at 20.
Gary Williams, you talk about Mr. Intensity. He had an excellent game against Massachusetts. As you look right here, the Duke students, they played Mass really, really tough, but Mass showed a lot of character, UMass, to come back and win. Calipari, Patino, what do they have in common? I thought all Paisans are supposed to be in a construction business. They're coaching basketball, Mr. Musburger.
Coach K.
Hey, I got a great story on Coach K. This morning at 8 o'clock, as I told you, I was at Mass, Immaculata. I'm in church. I'm lighting a candle. All of a sudden, I get hugged by someone who's behind me. Had no idea. Michael K. I said, you better light some candles, baby.
Simpkins to the attack for Maryland.
I said a prayer for you, too. I really did.
Very much. I need all the help I can get.
So can I.
Hip is out on top, punches in now to Rhodes. Rhodes, the left-hander, rattles one in.
You're going to like him, Brad. He's very versatile. He's right now the 2nd all-time leader in the ACC in steals. #1, Chris Corciani. Man-to-man defense. Rotate into a man-to-man after the pressure.
Snap pass from Capel into Wallace. Wallace low, very active here in the early going. Into Newton's hands, knocked away. Stripped by Maryland, and back comes Simpkins. Here's Booth.
Solid point guard. But you take away someone they plan on.
Stolen by Collins, and Collins will go for the deuce.
Easy layup. Collins with a good defensive maneuver. Point I was trying to make, they were really planning on Joe Smith. Had no idea that he would leave so early. You put him in the center of that club. That club is one of the top 3 teams in America.
High pass, knocked away from Rhodes, loose. Duke forces a turnover. Good defense down on the inside.
Duke really plays without a true point guard, a penetrator, a creator. They play with really a lot of #2 guards in Capel and Collins.
Capel's on the other side now. He's running baseline.
I like having a guy that can break defenses down.
The 3 from Capel is right on the money, and Capel with his 2nd 3 of the game.
He's unconscious. When he lets it fly, I mean, you're talking about MCI specials, downtown, long range.
All 5 starters for Duke have scored. They have built a 15-6 advantage. Kesey, the freshman, on the miss, and it's 1 and out. Wallace and Duke showing a lot of enthusiasm here in the early going. Can they hold up? The foul is called. It's offense. Goes against Collins. Crowd not happy with that call.
Dick Paparo with that dramatic call. Look at Michael K. He's smiling. There's the defense by Collins.
Early lead for the Blue Devils. Well, Dick Vitale says the perimeter will decide the outcome of this one.
Well, you talk about Capel. He's a long-range shooter, shooting about 36% for the year. His sidekick, Collins, is shooting 47%. They live by that three, Brent. They've really become a perimeter-oriented team, with the exception, obviously, of Newton on the inside.
Maryland needs to take it outside. Akizi only 1 of 5 down on the inside. Dick, your point is they need to stress some of the veterans out here. Here is Simpkins. Wojciechowski has checked in, and Hip is fouled. Capel went out and fouled him.
X-Ray Hip is really an interesting story. Everybody thought last year he had made such great strides. As we watched Coach Krzyzewski on the sideline, he really became such a positive transition player, Brent. And they said over the summer he worked out a great deal with Chris Webber and with Juwan Howard. He worked on his weights, and he put a lot of weight on, and he became really a player who doesn't jump as well, and he doesn't shoot as well. He lost a little bit of his touch. An extra shot there. Violation on Lane. You know, he had a good game 3 games ago, showed signs. 15 points and 8 rebounds.
Dick, let me correct that a second. He was shooting a 3.
Oh, was shooting a 3 then. Okay. We're so far up here, you can't see. I mean, one eye, how can they expect me to see? I thought you'd use your power to get us on the floor. I mean, I am witness to Musburg. When I walked in this building today, it was electricity when he walked through the door.
Even though they thought you were bringing a bag of free books. Wojo hounded in the backcourt now. Maryland goes to the trap pressure, and they get it up against it. Wallace, corner, Capel, the 3 on its way, and he drains a third one.
He is such a streaky shooter. Wide open against that pressure. See, the one thing that the press does, it allows you to get open shots if you beat the first wave.
It's a 10-point Duke lead. 14-16 here in the Cameron. The Devils only 2-4 in the ACC, and they have been beaten twice here in Durham this year. Collins maneuvering. The hot hand, of course, is Capel.
Stepped over that line on the violation on the inbounds of the basketball,
and they lose it again. Maryland having all sorts of problems.
It's been a struggling year for Gary Williams. Finally saw a little sunshine the last 3 games. This guy's such a fighter on that sideline. Went to the Sweet 16 last year.
This team will battle back. I don't know whether Maryland will win this, but they'll be back in this one because of Coach Williams. He's one of the quality coaches, always has been.
His personality really reflects his players in terms of effort and energy.
Well, I mentioned the standings. Take a look. Huge win for Carolina yesterday. They were down 18 to Wake, and they pull it out. Georgia Tech now starting to roll. They must roll. Remember, they're only 13-8 overall. That's where Maryland and Duke are, right in the middle of the standings at 2-3, 2-4. This big game for these two schools. You figure, Dick, that, 5 ACC teams are going to make the NCAAs. You've got to get into that top 5 and win some games in the conference this year.
Well, everybody says 5 if you look at tradition, but the bottom line right now, I think they're going to be lucky to have 4 this year. I think somebody has to emerge to be the 4th club. They got 3 that are locks in terms of Carolina, Georgia Tech, and Wake Forest, unless they have a total collapse. The bottom line is who will be the 4th school, and that's why this game becomes so big to both these clubs.
13:55, 28, Duke with the lead. Sharunas, Jasikevičius. Lithuania handling the ball over there in the corner. He was also assessed with that personal. Sharunas misses the 3 from the perimeter. Offensive rebound. This is the 4th try, and they still can't put it in. Maryland can't buy a hoop down here, Coach.
Where are you, Joe, baby? Where are you, Joe Smith? He grabbed that sucker, and he would have jammed that baby. That's why he got 40 last year against Duke.
Tapped it in the winner here when they beat him by a deuce. Capel, and this one rattles out. Now Booth brings it down for Maryland. They trail at 28.
Booth is a solid player. Not spectacular, just a solid player.
Sharunas will toss it back onto the outside now, and Terrell Stokes out of Philly. Another one of their talented freshmen.
Jasikevičius is a shooter. He's a specialist, a 3-point shooter. You're going to like Stokes' penetration ability.
Need Booth to get going here.
just a little penetrator.
Stokes on a runner, not there, but another offensive rebound. Rhodes has it knocked down by Newton.
Rhodes doing a good job on the offensive glass, but they're not converting.
Here's Lucas, and finally a three, and it went to Mario Lucas out of Memphis.
He's had some big games off the bench. He's had 20-point explosions off the bench. Solid sixth man. He likes coming off the bench better than starting, Brett.
Loose. Now Maryland can put together a little bit of a run. Lucas going to go again. This for the two, and great defensive play by Taman Domzalski. Domzalski ate him up.
TD does the job. Lucas nonchalant it, taking it to the goal.
Now offensively, TD missing a left-handed hook, and Stokes will bring it to the attack for Maryland. That familiar up-tempo style of Gary Williams, a very entertaining style of basketball. And the deuce for number 22, Keith Booth.
Keith Booth, that's his range. He's got good touch, 14, 15 feet. They're going to stay with that pressure. You go diagonal, you got a wide-open man.
Wojo bringing it across the timeline now, and he'll set the table.
He's from out of the Maryland area. He's a solid high school guard.
Price still missing. And now they can put together 3 consecutive field goals. Open man, great pass from Sharunas underneath, and Lucas is fouled. He'll shoot a pair.
I'll tell you, Lucas is instant offense. He comes off that bench, likes the six-man role. Watch TD right here. Damon Domzalski, great timing. TD time. That's what you're going to see today when the Dallas Cowboys step back and they give it to Emmett, and they run, baby, and they run. And the Cowboys get in the winner's circle. They're arrogant. They got that swagger. They can be obnoxious, but they know how to win and get off switches back everybody. They always bury Barry.
Make sure someone blocks Mr. Lloyd for you, Dick, as long as you're helping coach Steve.
Is he a fair player with Pittsburgh?
A killer, a killer.
I mean, I like Pittsburgh. I love the city. I love Jimmy Leland, who's a great basketball fan as well in baseball. But let's face reality. Look at the talent level there. Smith, Aikman, and company. Neil O'Donnell, by the way, the QB, went to Maryland.
It's 5 for Lucas, and Maryland on a 7-0 run since Williams went to his bench. His depth pick up the Terps, 2015. Tomorrow night on ABC, an hour of America's funniest home videos, followed by Lois and Clark, then a first-rate suspense thriller starring Goldie Hawn, Deceived, on the Sunday night movie all tomorrow.
Wow. Goldie Hawn, I've always wanted to meet Goldie. You know her, Brent? Do you know her?
Let's see, I've got to introduce Elijah Warren to someone.
And you got to introduce Goldie to me. I'd love to meet Goldie. Hey, if somebody's listening and knows...
Listen, folks,
hey, if somebody's
busy next year.
Brent, if somebody's listening and knows Goldie, please call her up and tell her I'd love to meet her.
Right now, Duke needs a shooter. They've missed their last 5 shots. They've got to find a hot hand here.
Ricky Price with a one-on-one blocking violation.
Struggle City, you know, Duke has been somewhat one-dimensional. When we take a look at the scoring, Jeff Capel with 11 of their 15 points for Coach K right now. They're not finding any balance.
He's a very streaky shooter as we look at the numbers right now. Maryland really shooting only 29%.
Capel is not on the floor right now for Duke, so Collins and Wojo are in that backcourt. Price, Wallace, and also number 31, Stan Brunson, the senior from Newark, Delaware.
He's trying to rest players. He goes to the zone, doesn't like to play the zone off. Mike Krzyzewski's got the zone right now.
Lucas with 5, missed on the turnaround jumper that time. Duke's lead was 10, now it's down to 5.
The reason he uses the zone is to protect players against fatigue.
Wojo's 3 is off the money, and Wallace knocked it out of bounds, but it's off Mr. Prophet's hand, and it will go back to the Blue Devils.
Prophet's an athlete. They think he'll be a special player once he gets a little bit more QT, quality time, gets some experience. They got 4 starters, 4 seniors, Maryland. Wojciechowski going out, out of Cardinal Gibbons High School in Maryland.
Capel back, Dick, as a result of that substitution, and Newton on the floor also, so Brunson will sit back down. Deep pass now to Price. Price has not had a shooting touch here recently for the Devils. Collins is fouled as he penetrates, and that foul is against Krzyzewski.
He's upset with the call. Sharunas, you made an interesting mention there. Penetration. That has always been a key for Duke. Dribble penetration. Mike Krzyzewski has always liked dribble penetration into the gaps and seams when he had the Hurleys and the Grant Hills. He doesn't have those kind of players that can attack the defense.
Sloppy turnover, Maryland ball. Down 5, and they can continue now.
You know what Duke has? They have some really good players, obviously, in Collins and Capel and people like Price. What they don't have is the star and the superstar to get them to the upper echelon. The go-to guy that can take them to where they're used to being in a Final Four.
Prophet open, misfiring. Price has it knocked out of bounds.
Maryland's also their schedule early, losing to Mass, Kentucky. As we look right here, has missed their last 6 in Brick City, USA. They first, you look early at their schedule, they lost to Kentucky, to Massachusetts, UCLA.
Wallace comes the baseline. And 5 points now for Carmen.
Very quick on that baseline. There's that 2-3 zone. Trying to match up out of it.
Stokes, the freshman, running things. Booth is on one wing along with Lucas. Sharunas is there, and here is Prophet. So a couple of freshmen now on the floor for Maryland. And he turned it over. Lucas turns it over, and that is the 5th turnover on Maryland. There are 7 turnovers against Duke so far.
What's interesting in that last defensive sequence, Duke rotated into like a diamond and 1, and they were playing head-to-head on the shooter, Cabbages, with Capel, and everybody else was zoning. Mike Krzyzewski coming out with a few gimmicks right here, making adjustments. There's that 1-2, 1-1 press. There's the diagonal pass. You throw it over the top, you'll always get numbers. Now you got to
open and well defended there that time by Stokes, who came hard at him, and the freshman from Philly brings it down to the left side.
Good recovery. Maryland got back defensively. Stokes from out of Simon Gratz High School, the same school that produced Rasheed Wallace. Good little penetrator. Trying to overload against that zone.
Lucas has to send it back to the outside, and Stokes will penetrate, and Collins is called for the personal foul, and that's his 2nd.
Chris tried to make the big shot against Temple. They had a big lead, but Temple went on a 15-zip run. Unfortunate that incident with Mark Jackson hitting Newton, but
he has sent a letter down that Mike Krzyzewski has, Dick. I know you were able to see it. The apology has been accepted. He was suspended. You made the point that the Atlantic 10 commissioner acted quickly and decisively.
Yeah, Linda Bruno really jumped right on it, didn't waste any time, and she should be saluted. I also think John Chaney jumped on it right away, and I think he should be saluted. And yet, he didn't coach in the game because he wanted to be with the youngster who was so down and depressed over the inside.
Offensive foul on Obina Akizi, the freshman, and that is his 1st.
Akizi with the foul inside. Let's hope that Mr. Jackson learns from this incident and goes on and becomes the player everybody knows he can become. Those things happen, unfortunately, not accepted in basketball.
So here is Jeff Capel. 11 points, leading the way. Duke ahead of Maryland, 22-15. 8:29 to go in the first half, in case you have just joined us. Duke built an early 10-point lead. Maryland came back with its bench leading the way. Stokes 5 points. Here's Wallace in on the inside, and Wallace has foul on hand. 7 points. He ended the scoring drought for the Blue Devils, and he now picks up another field goal, and that lead quickly is back to 9, and suddenly it's Maryland searching for a score.
And Wallace really very active. He's their 5th option offensively, and he's produced, as you said, 7 big points.
Price knocks it out of bounds.
One thing about this crowd, they support their team, winning and losing. Last year they showed a lot to me when they were losing, and they supported them.
8 minutes. Now there's Dick Vitale with one of his Cameron crazies.
Hey, that's not a devil, that's an angel. That's an angel, adorable.
Just a reminder that Saturday at 1 Eastern, it's a showcase of skills. The stars of the NFL clash, the Miller Lite Pro Bowl Battle of the Gridiron. And later on ABC's Wide World of Sports, we'll have the ice dancing competition from the State Farm U.S. Figure Skating Championships and the 2-minute drill from the Miller Lite Pro Bowl Battle of the Gridiron, all Saturday right here on ABC.
There's a 2-3 zone right now, and he came out of that little gimmick they were playing. Oh, good pass right over the top of the zone.
Booth ships it other way, and they have turned it over. It is off profit, and it's turnover number 7 against Williams' team.
The one mistake Booth made right there, he put himself in a poor angle. Even though they threw it over the top of the defense, he was in no position to shoot the basketball. There's the traps. You know traps are going to come.
Underneath with Wallace. Now Capel penetrates, gets it hard to the glass, and that's 13 for Jeff Capel.
He's a very good player. Strong drive to the goal.
Rhodes trying to get into things, and now he can make a three-point play as Newton hacks him.
You and I were talking about off the air, Johnny Rhodes. We said, where has he been? Averaging about 17 points a game. Very versatile, multi-dimensional. Jeff Capel's going to attack the defense. Cuts right behind. Now he spots an opening. Goes right to the goal. As soon as he sees that gap, he's right to the open, to the seam.
5 points for Johnny Rhodes, the senior out of Washington Dunbar. Dick, let me correct that one foul. That was assessed Ricky Price and not Newton. So Collins answers with a 3. He's shooting the 3 better than 45%. If he can square his body, it's nothing but nylon. Simpkins penetrates, ships back to Hip. Hip with a miss. Newton rebounds, 1 and out. 29-18. Duke with the lead in the basketball. Inside of 7 minutes first half. Capel, showtime, puts it up, not there.
Maryland's got to start converting. This lead's starting to get a little bit away.
Now Booth turned it over, and that is turnover number 8.
Ball coming off the glass. Look at Greg Newton. Look at him. He's got the elbow spread real wide. Takes possession. He's gotten better and better. Just got to get a few players to help him. They got some good recruits coming in next year. Carrawell and a kid by the name of Michael Chappelle from out of Michigan. Joey Beard transferred. They have big high hopes. He's out of Boston University.
And that's Dwayne Simpkins' first personal.
They're not going to allow hand checking. Simpkins and Rhodes have been through a lot. So has this guy, Gary Williams. Hey, I got a great trivia question. Think about this. The only guy to coach, you ready for this, in the ACC, the Big Ten, and the Big East, head coach?
Gary Williams.
That's right.
5 team fouls now, Dick, against Maryland, and a 6 against Duke. Collins ships back to Wojo.
Boston College, Ohio State, and now Maryland.
Newton fouled. He'll be shooting a pair.
Newton shooting 65% from the field. Cherokee Park's now sitting the pine, playing up in Dallas. Gary Williams' guy, Joe Smith at Golden State, getting a lot of double-doubles now, starting to develop.
6 block shots the other night for Joe.
He's going to be a heck of a player up at Golden State. Get a little stronger physically. He's still a youngster. I'll tell you, this conference has developed some good big people. As Park, I said Park says, Mr. Newton misses the free throw. What a big win yesterday, North Carolina. You mentioned earlier, 18 down, come back and beat a good Wake Forest team. 1992, they were down 22. They said that place was so loud in Chapel Hill. Davey Odom couldn't get his instructions to his players.
Now Maryland's Hip gets it into Simpkins' hands, and bad pass on the entry, and Collins with the steal at 6:18, a nifty steal, 29-18. Devils with the lead in the ball.
Collins stepping right in that passing lane. Good ball reversal. There's a slash by Wallace.
Wallace very active today. Missed shot out of bounds, and it's Duke's ball.
I've never seen him so offensive-minded, Wallace, as I've seen today.
And now Williams objecting to the call. And
I think he teed him up.
Technical is called by Paparo on the bench, but it was not on Gary, we are told. But Kim Belton, our producer, relaying the information from down below that on the bench that this technical was indeed against the bench, but not the head coach.
But it gets assessed to the head coach, Brent. Assistant or anybody on the bench gets nailed with a technical, it gets assessed to the head coach.
Biggest lead, 31-18.
Halftime yesterday was 32-18. Wake over the Tar Heels.
Now Williams.
Got to watch out. Watch out.
We'll take a break. Here he goes. Now he's coming back. He wants to get his money's worth.
Payne-Weber College Basketball on ABC. Brought to you by Network MCI. How to get modern communications technology working for your business. Burger King, where you can get your burger's worth. Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. And Discus Athletic Activewear. Discus Athletic, the way America plays.
Duke with the ball and the lead, 31-18, 6 minutes.
Doing an excellent job moving the basketball, getting some good high percentage shots, trying to execute their half-court game.
Domzalski fouled by Rhodes.
See, right now, too many of the players in Maryland are moaning and groaning on calls rather than just getting down and playing basketball. They can't be concerned.
Coming up on the Network MCI halftime report, John Saunders, joined again by UMass head coach John Calipari. He'll have the scores, highlights, plus an interview with Wake Forest big man Tim Duncan. Domzalski making the free throw.
They feel he's going to be a special player, eventually getting a lot of playing time. He's had some positive moments, doesn't get a lot of touches on the inside. But he's getting a chance as a freshman. They've got a lot of moments. Hey, talking about freshmen, Antoine Jameson, 15 rebounds yesterday for North Carolina. He and Marbury, it's going to be a war. Who's going to be Rookie of the Year?
Kesey with a strong rebound, reaching over the top and a turnaround. That's 2 field goals now for the freshman from Nigeria. 33-20. The Terps are down 13 with 5:29. Just to clarify that technical called on the bench. If there are 3 bench technicals called, then Williams has to leave. If he's assessed 2 personally, he has to leave. And Paparo was over at the table during the timeout explaining it to scores the new rule situation.
Yeah, if it's called on a bench, it's assessed to the head coach.
Rhodes, and another foul against Maryland. That is 18 fouls against, now make it 9 and 6 against Duke.
If Maryland's going to get back in this basketball game, their experienced people have to start to play. Simpkins and Rhodes really have been non-factors here in the first half. They're too good and too talented to just be marginal players. They have to really be the leaders for Gary Williams.
I would say that off the top that Simpkins has been as much a no-show as anybody. He's got to distribute it and set the table out there.
Exactly. You've got to have your leader, your point guard, your penetrator. That's what makes Mass so special. Nobody really talks about Edgar Padilla and Carmelo Travioso except John Calipari, but those 2 guards are 2 of the most underrated guards in America as a guard combination, and they guard you as well.
I mean, we take a look now at Keith Booth, the junior, with only 1 field goal here in the first half. Nice pass for Easy, who has been hot and cold underneath. Just a pair of field goals. He's missed a good half dozen from the field inside of 5 minutes. And Duke with a comfortable, very comfortable 15-point lead here in the first half. Price put it in and send him to the free throw line.
See, Ricky Price stepped right in the gap of that defense. He's the one guy that can utilize dribble penetration. And he's spotted right there. An opening in the defense. Now watch him. He'll catch it. He'll attack the defense with that little dribble penetration. And then he converts. Grant Hill was a master at that. We saw college before. His dad, Doug, doing a great job with the Pistons. They got 3 super guys when you talk about character. Allen Houston, Grant Hill, and Joe Dumars.
They won 2 very close games this week, the Pistons did. And
oh, look at that number 33, Grant Hill. Oh, Michael would love to have him on the floor.
But even without it, he's up 18, 4.5. And there's another turnover. Very sloppy first half here by Maryland, and Price turned it over. Took that step before he put the ball down on the floor. Terps ball, 4.5 minutes. minutes, and they certainly need to put something together here.
The 2-3 zone, they got right into the gap of it with Johnny Rhodes. He was in a perfect position, but didn't catch the basketball. There's a hole in that zone right behind the front two. There's a hole right there, a gap. You get it in there, some good things can happen.
Simpkins doesn't get the roll, battle underneath, and the foul is going to be called, and that is against Wojo.
This is the first time in 2 years these two guys are going head-to-head. Mike Krzyzewski and Gary Williams both were out. Gary last year with pneumonia. Michael out all year. Billy Hahn stepped in. Peter Gadet had the sideline for Duke.
Well, now the front end becomes important. Trailing. They're in that situation with 17 fouls against Duke, and Simpkins could do something here.
He's a great free throw shooter, one of the really premier free throw shooters in America. For his career, shooting better than 80%. Not today. Not today, baby.
It is Brick City for them.
I like that you're using my terms, Brick City.
I like your term.
I'm converting you.
You know, my son Blake, he thinks you should put one of those dolls out that you push. It says all your terms, you know? Awesome, baby, awesome. It's Wojo. Entry again down low. Finally.
Working hard on the glass. Duke flat out is out hustling, out scrapping. There's no other way to put it, Brent. They're just out hustling them. And TD wants to rock inside. There's TD. Hey, Wojciechowski to Domzowski. Do you think anybody had a chance to recruit those two guys? Then a Krzyzewski?
Krzyzewski.
A Krzyzewski recruits a Wojciechowski and a Domzowski. I mean, nobody else had a chance. And Calipari had no shot. He walked in with rigatoni and it was all over. The other guy had his Kavasi out. Hey, I got a request for John Calipari. John Saunders, don't let him off the hook, baby. Connecticut and Massachusetts should be an annual game at the Meadowlands.
Wait a minute, you got the wrong coach. You got to get the Calhoun over that. Well, not Calipari. He'll play him anytime, any day. I know it. There's the three from Mario Lucas, and the senior from Memphis with 8 points here in the first half.
Well, Lucas is one guy that can shoot it. Yeah, that game should be the Jimmy B Classic. It would be for such a great cause, cancer research, and they can get their share of the dollars as well. But it should be an annual game. The fans want it, the players want it, the coaches. We got to get all the coaches to want it. The media wants it.
Rhodes puts it into Simpkins' hands, and again, Simpkins, he's having a tough first half here.
That angle, we got an injured player.
And that is Wallace, who is down. He was hit up in the throat area on the left side, and he's in obvious pain, and he receives medical. Mike Krzyzewski, incidentally, said that the only thing that bothered him the other night in Philadelphia when Newton got cold-cocked was the fact that the officials did not stop the game when his player was obviously injured. And, of course, that's at their discretion if they think a player is seriously hurt or possibly seriously hurt, as is the case here with Wallace. They quickly blow the whistle, but up there in the Temple game, they let play continue at the other end. I think the Owls, Dick converted a field goal. I'm not sure, but up at the other end, and it was a three-pointer.
Carmen Wallace had such a solid first half. He's been such a plus player. So we're going to watch right here. I missed it, Mr. Musburger. You're so far up.
Played well here in the first half.
He really has. He's been very active offensively and defensively. They know they're going to get a defensive effort out of him. They lost Tony Moore academically. Trajan Langdon's out with an injury all year, a red shirt. And they got a kid by the name of Rashawn McLeod from St. John's who is sitting the year out. Oh, listen to this crowd. I love this crowd. This is electricity. And they supported this team last year, Brent, when you and I were here and they were losing. It's easy to support them when they're putting up those Final Four banners, but what makes them special, they're right behind them, win or lose.
Newton sends it back now to Wojo. 3 minutes first half. Duke 40, Maryland 23. Cable turned it over.
Walking violations being called this year. Guys are lifting that pivot foot before they release the ball out of their hands. Mike Krzyzewski, 7 Final Fours in 9 years. 7 Final Fours in 9 years. Back-to-back championships, 91 and 92.
The three for Rhodes.
Johnny Rhodes, get him the rock, baby. He's a scorer. Who can help him?
Rhodes and Lucas, 8 apiece.
You want to get this under 10. Right now, you play this game in segments. So you want to get this. You're 14 down. You're Gary Williams. You're hoping for 9. You want to outscore by 5 here in the next 2.5 minutes.
Capel. Newton comes up with it. Domzalski is very active underneath. He does indeed have a future now. The freshman from Lovington, New Mexico. That's 9 points.
They are flat out beating them on the inside. Playing physical, just beating the Maryland kids to the basket. You're on a road. You got to play aggressive basketball.
Tap back.
Oh, nice
hits it beautifully, and here comes Domzalski again. Great block at that end by Rhodes. The Terps are right back. Sharunas is fouled by Capel.
Capel fouls, but what a great play by Wojciechowski, and then a defensive play by Johnny Rhodes. Sensational recovery.
Let's pause 5 seconds to allow our ABC stations to identify themselves.
Sharunas was trying to beg and plead for 3 shots.
1:45 remaining in the first half. Duke leading Maryland 42-26. Here's the tap. And now watch at the other end this defensive gem by Rhodes against Domzalski. Here it comes right there.
Yeah, great play. Johnny Rhodes, second of all time in the ACC in steals to Chris Corciani. Remember Corciani playing with Rodney Monroe for the late Jimmy V. And as I was saying earlier, that game should be for the Jimmy V Classic. It's for such a great cause. It'll put them in an area where the Connecticut fans can come, the Mass fans can come. It could be an annual game. It'll be for such a great cause. So I beg and I plead with John Calipari and Jim Calhoun. Let's set egos aside and make that baby happen. The fans want it. They both got great programs. That's it. I'm not mentioning anymore today.
Thanks for that.
But you feel they should play, don't you? Seriously?
Well, certainly. Neighboring states, why not? It's like the old Louisville, Kentucky rivalry. And it's decided on the floor.
And for Jimmy's cause, it'd be great.
Excellent. Now Rhodes is all alone on the lead pass, and he'll lay it back in now. As Maryland, like Dick said, you've got to work on getting down by 10 if you can. Rhodes with 10 points has led the way here with the Terps in the first half.
You got to use some clock right now, Duke. You want to go in strong at halftime. You want to go in with a convincing lead. You look for the high percentage shot.
Collins has it rejected beautifully by Booth underneath. He sends it right back, but Price was there.
You got to jump on a loose ball once that shot's blocked.
So Duke will take a comfortable lead into the locker room here at the intermission. It's 42-28. They're running time off the clock, and Collins with a deep 3, and it rattles in. Major league three-point play, 10 for Collins.
That's a big-time 3 right there.
Booth at the other end, short on the shot, loose, picked up by Newton.
Now you got to just hold it.
Last shot time. Mike is signaling last shot.
See Collins hitting his head, last shot.
Let's bring it on down. The shot clock violation is the signal for the last shot here by Krzyzewski, and he passed it on to the rest of the team.
I think Collins is going to be like his dad. I think he's going to get into the coaching fraternity. I really do. If you talk to him, he's got that enthusiasm, a passion for the game, an understanding of the game.
Put back by Newton, short. That's the end of the first half, but a good one if you're a Duke fan. Disappointment for a Maryland fan.
Excellent.
45-28. John Saunders and John Calipari after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Weber College basketball on ABC. Duke with a comfortable halftime lead, 45-28 over Maryland, and they did it at the perimeter, Dick.
Well, they were knocking down threes. Capel and Collins. Capel knocked down 3 trifectas early in the game to set the tone. Chris Collins also shot well.
Chris Collins in that first half, 3 of 5. Capel was 4 of 9 from the field. And in three-point land, they were 6 of 12. They blazed away at 50% against Maryland. Maryland hitting only 3 of 7, or 42% from three-point land.
Maryland was brick city on the inside. There's Rhodes with the offensive rebound. There's Booth, and there's Rhodes one more time. They came up empty. They hustled. They scrapped right here on the glass, but they could not convert. How would you like to have been here at halftime listening to Gary Williams?
Well, there are the numbers as far as the teams are concerned. Dwayne Simpkins, who runs things for Maryland, shot 1 for 4 from the floor. He turned the ball over, and he was not credited with a single assist. So if Maryland's going to turn things around, he has got to start setting the table.
And that's so unusual. You know, preseason, a lot of people were rating Simpkins and Rhodes as one of the top 5 backcourts in America. We haven't seen that here today.
So Duke with the first possession as we start the second half, right in front of Coach Mike Krzyzewski. Price maneuvers inside, the jump shot.
See, there's that dribble penetration I was talking about earlier. You get into a gap, you attack the defense, and Price has that ability. He's got a great first step. See, Gary Williams, now you're playing this game in little periods, and right now you played in 5-minute spots, and you're hoping now in the next 5 minutes you can get it to 10.
Basketball, a game of runs, and Maryland needs one right now. It's off Duke and out of bounds. It was off Wallace. Maryland possession, Dick.
You know, you talk about games of runs. The best team in the country in terms of spurt basketball, Kentucky. Yesterday they were really tight with South Carolina, and they went on a 30-2 spurt.
Rhodes opens up with a 3, and that's 13 points for Johnny.
He's a wing player, can play the 2-guard slot as well.
Pressure, and quickly Duke beats it to the attack, and Price will pull it back out. This is Capel and Collins along with Wallace and Newton and Price.
Duke trying to make that extra pass. You'd like to beat the pressure for the easy layup, but if it's not there, you got to bring it out. He gets a charge.
Offensive foul is the call, and that is the second personal against Ricky Price.
Mike Krzyzewski at West Point, 8-17 in his last year. Yet Tom Butters seen something in his resume that he liked, and Bob Knight sold him big time. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Rhodes missing. Did not get a comfortable bounce. Newton losing control, but only Collins was on that side. Akezi didn't check it well as he turned around, went up the floor. He might have had a quick turnover.
X-ray hip spin a non-factor again here. That really shocks me. One of the real strange stories in college basketball. He was so good last year.
Akezi, and that is foul number 3 on Obinna Akezi, the freshman.
Akezi's one of these kids that's going to get a lot of confidence by playing a lot of minutes, and he's really going to be, in the future, a heck of a player. You're only looking at a kid learning how to play the game, played soccer, he's from out of Nigeria, he's a freshman, 3 fouls, wants to meet Olajuwon, and Mr. Musburger's going to arrange it. Hakeem, if you're listening, or if anybody knows Hakeem, have him call Gary Williams of Maryland and make that happen.
Steal, and it's Booth. Price rotates back. Booth turns inside and travels.
Keith Booth stepped in a lane. He said, I got pushed on that play. He played at the famed high school Dunbar in Maryland, where he played with Dante Bright, who's having a great year for Mass. In fact, he's made 39 free throws in a row, Bright.
A critical recruitment for Coach Williams. They had been shut out of the Baltimore area because of the controversies surrounding ousted Coach Wade, who preceded Williams at Maryland. So it was very important when Booth elected to go to the university and play basketball.
Frustration foul right there on Booth. You know, I mentioned his former high school teammates got 39 in a row on a free throw line. 39 in a row. Dante Bright, I know one thing, he didn't learn how to shoot free throws from Calipari because he was Brick City.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Newton is having himself some week. He gets sucker punched up in Philadelphia. Now he gets nailed in the face here at home in Cameron. He's got a couple of strained muscles in his foot.
Called an intentional foul. 2 shots in the basketball. John Chaney was so apologetic throwing that letter. It was unbelievable. If you could read his words, you could see how hurt he was. There's the contact. How hurt he was on behalf of Temple and everybody there. and he sat the game out. That was interesting against St. Joe's. And as we said earlier, the commissioner, Linda Bruno, didn't waste any time, and rightfully so, suspended Jackson for 1 game. We just hope that he has learned from this incident.
Capel with a nice touch to Collins. The 3 not there. Off Domzalski's hand. No, they say Maryland touched it last.
I don't know. Maybe it's me, Brent. I don't know if you see what I see, but I see a club being totally out-hustled. I don't see a club reflecting Gary Williams' personality and playing aggressive Maryland basketball.
Surprising.
You agree? Do you see?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes when you're this far away from the action, maybe it's not exactly the way I see it. As we look at X-ray hip, he's got to be going through a tough time now. He's expected to have a banner senior year. There's no quitting this guy. First time I spotted him when he was in Camden, New Jersey, as a high school coach, I knew he was heading for big-time success.
Played guard at Maryland. Head coach up at Boston College, then Ohio State.
Learned a lot from Dr. Tom Davis, who hired him up at Boston College, had him with him at Lafayette as well.
That's 14 points for Capel, the scoring leader for the Blue Devils.
Look at these 1,400 SAT guys. Look at them holding their hands up. I mean, you just see it so wacky. I mean, 1,400 SATs. I mean, they had your SATs, Brent. But I had your son's Blake's, not yours.
49-31. Off the bench into hip on the inside.
Oh, X-ray. Good play right here. He slashed. He was active. That's the guy I knew last year and watched. I'll tell you, he was a major league big-time player. I watched him before. He was a slasher last year. Here he is posting up to the basketball. Here he is right now with a nice little spin, little jumper, gets the rotation. He's still got time to close out this season in fine fashion.
Second field goal of the game. They played 2 two-point games, both Maryland victories last year against Duke, and now they're on the short end of the 49-34 score. Open is Newton, high pass from Capel, out of bounds on the turnover, and Maryland will attempt to put together back-to-back field goals. That's 13 turnovers for the Blue Devils.
Duke did everything right except convert right there. They threw the ball back to the trail man, the guy that took the ball out of bounds, then a diagonal pass, and had numbers, but did not convert.
Big trip. This could be a confidence builder if they can get something down here. Rhodes will come to the free throw line.
He thought they were going to call a charge on him. Oh, they did. They called a charge. Yes, sir.
They did call the offensive foul.
Charge on Johnny Rhodes. Here's Johnny Rhodes going to attack the defense. Let's see. Oh, there's the contact. Good call. Good call.
That's the second personal on Rhodes. Salsky muscling in, and he is coming to the free throw line. Is that Akizi again? If so, that's number 4 on the freshman.
They got to go with Lucas and get some scoring on the floor. Mario Lucas is capable of knocking down threes and getting him some point production.
Remember, he brought them back, Dick, in the first half, didn't he?
Yeah, he can shoot the basketball. He's had some big games off the bench. Senior, experienced player. I think clearly this year the Big East is the best conference in basketball. You got Georgetown, for example, beats Georgia Tech on a neutral floor in a Garden. You got a situation where Villanova, not once but twice, beat North Carolina. Once by a deuce up in Hawaii in a Maui Classic, and then Villanova was scintillating. They were also great yesterday, beating Miami. But I would think that there's no question this year the Big East is the premier conference in the land from top to bottom.
Collins penetrates, got the roll, and that's a dozen now for Chris. Dick, Duke, despite having gone to Philadelphia with that tough game, so far looks pretty rested, pretty poised, pretty confident. A much improved team from the club we saw lose down the stretch over at Virginia when they were worn out and tired that day. It's a 52-34 lead. Rhodes, and that'll be goaltending, I believe. Yes.
I think they're playing with a little desperation from the standpoint they realize how fragile the situation's getting in terms of an NCAA berth. They got 7 losses already, and they've lost twice in the league on their home floor. And I think they've come out with that kind of attitude, that mental toughness today.
15 points for Rhodes. Capel now, the 3. This is Simpkins. Quick pass now to the other side. Rhodes missing. Capel stepped on the line.
I mean, there's Rhodes begging for a call. He's begging and pleading now, talking to the officials. I think their mindset is that they're so concerned about calls as opposed to playing basketball. Sometimes you can use the referees as an escape, as an excuse. Offensive foul on him. But you know what? At least he was active. At least he was going to the basket. At least he was slashing. He wasn't just floating on the perimeter.
His third personal.
Watch number 4. Now look, he's in a slash. He wants the basketball. See, that's what he did last year. He was active. I mean, but he made a good play there. It's one of those questionable calls, but at least he was active. But when things aren't going your way, baby, they just don't go your way.
52-36, and they are not going Maryland's way here today, are they?
Well, look at Rhodes. He's very passive defensively right now. I think you got to make something happen defensively.
Turnover.
There it is. They made it happen defensively.
Yep. Rhodes on the other side for the layup.
Good conversion right there. Good play. It's
17
only 14
for Rhodes. Okay?
It's only 14, though, Brent. You know, it's very, very dangerous in this game with three-point shooting. Crowd's starting to feel a little bit as well. They need to stop right here and get a conversion.
Newton.
I tell you, he's shooting the ball really well from out of Canada.
Great pass by Rhodes underneath. Let's see if Lucas could do anything with it, and he did. And a chance to complete a three-point play.
Lucas with that good post-up move inside. He knows what to do with the ball once he catches the basketball. Now here's Johnny Rhodes showing some real patience. Excellent pass by Rhodes. I like Rhodes. I mean, Rhodes is one of those real versatile players. There's Lucas with the score. Here's Johnny Rhodes with a good look inside. Drives the pass into Lucas. This is an experienced basketball team. Very capable with 15 on the clock and coming back.
Stokes checks in. Strong rebound off the missed free throw.
Duke started out with a 1-4 set right there. That's going to try to get the ball inside to Newton.
Price losing it on the way in, and he is fouled.
What a heralded player he was coming out of Carson, California. Ricky Price, many thought the best player in California. Duke's bringing in 2 other wing players next year. Carrawell from out of St. Louis and Chappelle from out of the Detroit area. We'll have some really bona fide transition people. They got to get a big player and a point guard. They want a kid badly by the name of Shaheen Holloway from out of St. Pat's in New Jersey, one of the premier point guards in America. Seton Hall's in the picture as well. Syracuse is possibly out of it because they signed a great guard from California by the name of Hart. Some people say maybe Georgia Tech.
I think that was a third foul on Rhodes. It's a 14-point differential, and still Domzalski reaching in and battling with Rodney Elliott, and that is the third foul now on Taman Domzalski.
I think if you're Mike Krzyzewski, you got to be a little concerned. I expect to see a spurt by Maryland. Get back in this game.
Payne-Weber College Basketball on ABC. Brought to you by Buick, makers of the 1996 Riviera. When was the last time you really had fun in a car? Boost, help keep your body at its best with new Boost Nutritional Energy Drink. Network MCI, how to get modern communications technology working for your business. And Volkswagen, on the road of life there are passengers and there are drivers. Drivers wanted.
$15 minutes remaining, 54-40, a 14-point Duke lead now over Maryland.
Johnny Rhodes got to use a little dribble penetration when he gets the ball.
Lucas on the turnaround.
As soon as he touches it, goes up to the basket. Man-to-man defense by Maryland. Got to play head-to-head, strong man-to-man, block out on a missed shot. They really got to lock it up if they want to get back in this game, and defensively is the only way they're going to get back.
Price. Elliott with the rebound, and he traveled. Stokes traveled because of Wojo.
Tough to get back in the game when you rebound, play good on the defensive end, and then turn it over on the rebound. Frustration for Gary Williams. What a fighter he is on that sideline. You got to appreciate his unbelievable effort, great personality. He gets all intense, but once, oh, turnover by Duke, sloppy play. I'll tell you, this is sloppy basketball.
And Krzyzewski's upset. It's a 20.
20-second timeout, Duke.
Hey, John, I got a question for you right here, John. You got a date on February 1st, which is Thursday. You're at Temple, and that 2-3 matchup they play is unbelievable. All you got to do is call up, for example, Villanova, Kansas. You got to be a little nervous about that.
It's going to be a great college game. That's the game you live for, Dickie. It's going to be fun. It's going to be clean. It's a great college atmosphere. Let me say this, though. You picked Kentucky to beat us, Memphis to beat us, Maryland to beat us. You picked Pitt to beat us. Please don't pick us to win this game.
I mean, he's wrong. I didn't pick all those clubs.
You did, I heard you.
I did? Uh-oh. I like Maris.
Yes.
I'll tell you, he never gives you credit for all the beautiful things you say about him and how many times you love your club. But I'll remember that. Remember, I got the microphone last. You're not going to be undefeated all your life. Remember that. He's not going to be undefeated all his life. And someday he'll need a little help in a photo ring. They forget their friends. They get cocky. They get winning in that winner's circle. You know how it goes. I love John Calipari. I'll tell you, the greatest rebuilding job ever done in basketball has been done up at Massachusetts. I don't think it's even close what he has done. Will change his name to Frank Lloyd Wright, an architect at work. Plus, it doesn't hurt. His name ends in A-E-I-O-U.
Shooting for the Blue Devils will be number 34, Carmen.
Well, that's the 8th foul against Krzyzewski. And so, shooting 1-1. Front end now for Wallace.
Wallace really a positive guy tonight. Doing a real good job.
Rattled out into Lucas's hands. 13:56. Time very important out of Maryland. They attempt to get some kind of a run going, searching rhythm up here. Score it. And he'll come to the free throw line. Sharunas Jasikevic.
Jasikevic can shoot the ball. He can shoot the basketball. There he is in a post move inside. If he can add a few more parts to his game, he'd get a lot more playing time. But he's a specialist. He can shoot the three-pointer.
Replacing Ricky Price and Chris Collins.
Price sits down. I tell you, Dick, they still can't get over that 10-point hump.
Got it down to 12 here with this conversion. You know, Mass has got Temple February 1st, and then we got it back on ABC on February 11th. So that could be a big one. Be up at the Mullins Center, one of the great places for basketball.
It's down to 12.
They keep trapping. You know what's going to come. There's no secret. You just got to recognize open people. You got to know when you have the numbers and when to back it up.
Oh,
great steal
by the freshman Stokes from Philly. Roll. Capel at the other end, the numbers. Newton high on the board, and the Devils turn it around.
What an unbelievable play by Capel. That was awesome, baby. That was flat out awesome. He said, get it out of thy lane. Then he converted.
And again, and this time it's Wallace.
And they're rocking here, baby. Oh, here he goes. He picks his pocket. Now he's going to go. See, but he angles out. He angles too wide. There's Capel. Rejection City. Pins it out of glass. They're going to score. And the Dookie fans love it. They're going bananas.
Rhodes fouled. 6th team foul against Duke, and that's the 2nd on Wallace.
Looking at the other end. Gives it to Newton. There's Newton with that reverse layup. I didn't know they could teach you how to make those reverse layups in Canada. I didn't know that, John Saunders. Wow, another block by Wallace.
That is out into the hands of the Canadian Newton, who hands it off to Wojciechowski. Domzalski has it stripped. Now let's see what Stokes does this time coming down. Gets it over now to Sharunas, comes in, and it's rejected. Wallace gets up in the air for his second block in his sequence. What a defensive performance.
I'll tell you one thing, it's becoming contagious. Everybody's saying, if you can block a shot, I can block one too. Here comes Wallace. Rejection City, thou shalt not enter thy lane.
Dick, that's the 8th block by the Dukies here.
That's incredible. Marcus Camby blocked 9 by himself yesterday. And I know he didn't learn how to block shots from Calipari.
57-43, the Dukies, 12-42. Booth low. Strip, loose. Domzalski over to Capel. Capel brings it down, and he'll slow it up.
College hoops, college spirit. Oh, Cameron is a crazy place. I'll never forget this place last year when they hooked up with North Carolina. It's the best rivalry in all of college basketball. They hook up Wednesday at Chapel Hill. I can't wait to be there. Nice entry down to the post.
Newton snaps off another one. That's 8 now for Greg Newton.
Hey, where's the hockey puck? I thought they played hockey in Canada. I mean, are you serious? John Saunders, he's automatic down in the lane.
Awesome, baby. Just awesome. Say it, man.
It's awesome, baby, with a capital A.
We are back. Greg Newton, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks. Watch Capel set him up. Interesting background. Out of Canada, Newton's father, Tom, was a professional pitcher in the Milwaukee Braves organization, and his mother, Margaret, was an outstanding basketball player. And that's where he gets his ability, Dick. It's from Mama's side.
Mama. 10 rebounds, heading for a double-double today.
59-43, 16-point lead. Remember, at one time on a steal, it looked like Maryland was going to cut it to 10, but they never got there.
All because the defense, the block shot by Capel on Stokes.
The hip was a little bit out of control that time, 1 and out. Maryland has not been particularly strong on the offensive glass either, Dick, and when you're not shooting well, that'll really build up against you.
And that goes down to a term, aggressive basketball. Usually when you're playing aggressively, you're rebounding, you're forcing turnovers, you're blocking shots.
I'm very impressed with the way Duke has improved since you and I saw them.
There's a down screen. Well, they lost a great performance by Harold Dean.
On the turnaround, Newton has it yanked free now, and Booth will come down. Numbers for Maryland, 3-on-1. Hit back to Booth, and Booth has it blocked. Wallace, but that time there's a foul call.
I don't think Wallace even believes it. He's saying, wow, I'm going to another level today. Look at Mike, look at the captain. Look at the captain. Come on, captain. Get a little emotional. And there it is, the kick inside. Now here comes Wallace. I mean, he's making like Grant Hill right here. He's making like Leitner and Hill. Look at him with the rejection. Wow. He's supposed to be just a role player, filling a spot. Here he is, trying to be a star.
Three points for Booth.
What a high school, Dunbar out of Baltimore. We've talked about so many times the great players, Muggsy Bogues and company, Wingate and Williams, Dante Bright.
Big round of applause, Dick, for Domzalski. You know, he's just a freshman, and he is going to be a force in the ACC for a few years.
Well, he's getting a great chance to get a lot of good positive minutes. There's some good young players in this league. Antoine Jamison is so special at North Carolina.
There's 3 freshmen in Carolina that look good to me.
Okalaja and also Carter, you got that right. What a reverse jam he did to exclamation point time on Wake Forest yesterday.
And Rhodes. Newton with rebounding position again, and that's rebound number 12 for Mr. Newton. You know, speaking to fellows from Duke or in the NBA, Danny Ferry has suddenly come alive. He's averaging better than 13 points a game for the Cavaliers in Cleveland. That's nice to see, Jack.
Yeah, he's a perfect player for the Mike Fratello system. He fits that role perfectly, shooting open shots. Michael, what a job he has done over with Cleveland.
19 turnovers on the Blue Devils. 10-42, 59-45. Still a chance if Maryland can just get hot from the floor. We keep saying that, and they keep searching for a shooter.
0 for 7 in their last 7 attempts, and they're still hanging at 14 down.
great defense down in the paint, led by Newton and Wallace. And that time the foul is going to be called on Newton, and that is number 2. So aggressive defense and only 2 personals, not bad. And a reminder now, coming up next, we sail to the Big Island of Hawaii for the final round of the Senior Skins. Raymond Floyd leads. What a cast there, huh? Nicholas, Palmer, Colbert. That's next here on ABC. Hey, how's your golf game, partner? You're not breaking any bones out there swinging a club anymore, are you?
I played out of Prestantia. I played 9 holes yesterday, but you know what? One of the great thrills of my life, I got invited one time to play tennis with Jack Nicklaus at his house, and I played tennis. You should see the Golden Bear play tennis.
Is he pretty good, huh?
Oh,
you know, the Golden Bear was a pretty good high school basketball player. You aware of that?
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Yes, he was.
Wow. I know he's a great tennis player, though. He's got grass courts at home, and he invited me. I was like a little kid. Great hand-eye coordination, something I don't have.
Into Capel's hands. It's amazing. You know, it's amazing how poorly Maryland has shot here today. It's just
forced the turnover. Good defensive play right there by Stokes.
Stokes looks like he's got a future too. Freshman from Philadelphia.
That'll be his job next year at that point guard slot. He's a creator, a penetrator, a pure point guard. Good speed.
Both Simpkins and Stokes on the floor together. There's the turnover story. 14 and still 10 minutes to go.
A lot of little guys are really even making the game at the next level, becoming positive. Damon Stoudemire looks like a lock to be the rookie.
Did you ever think he would be anything like he is this year?
I've always been a big fan. He was my preseason last year All-American. I loved him throughout the year. But Tyus Edney's playing great. Bob Hurley had a big game yesterday, finally getting some minutes.
I saw him during the week, Dick. It was nice to see. He had a couple of threes. And speaking of little guys who are making an impact, whoa, Joe listed. Put it on the board, baby.
Oh, what a great play. He gets a hug. The little guy, Wojciechowski, and the Dookie fans appreciate his effort. He gets a hug, a tap on the head. Look at these wackos going nuts. Look at Wojo. Oh, he's going to dive for the loose ball. He's going to make the All-John Madden team, the All-Deerdorf team.
Oh, by the way.
There he is. Conversion. Watch him right here, strip the ball. Then he dives for it. He hustles. Now he's going to pounce on it. He smells the deuce. He wants the deuce. He wants Brett Musburger to echo his name loud and clear. Wow.
Wojciechowski. Listen, I'm glad you just mentioned Danny's name. Congratulations to Dan Dierdorf on being named to the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Wow,
it is richly deserved. And of course, he goes back to his hometown to be inducted next summer. And I'm sure that he'll be honored over at Hawaii in this upcoming week at the Pro Bowl. Richly deserved honor for Dan Dierdorf. Joe Gibbs also named. That's important. He's been a great coach for years now on television.
Congratulations to both guys. Dan Dierdorf was such a great player also when he played in college at Michigan, and then his years with the Cards. Does a great job on ABC.
8 straight misses now for the Terps. Capel put it down, and he's fouled.
Doing a great job attacking that pressure, creating opportunities.
And Kesey's gone.
Attacking the press. Not just backing it up, trying to put points on the board. Here's Capel. He's strong, takes it up to the goal. They have that team feeling here at Duke. They may lack the superstars. 1994, this kid was quite a presence as they made that run for the national championship as Kesey fouled out. But we're going to work it out. Olajuwon will meet you. Obina, we're going to work that out. He wants to meet Hakeem Olajuwon. I don't blame him. Olajuwon, one of the classiest pros in the game. We often hear about the guys that have problems, but the Hills, the Olajuwons, the David Robinsons, all beautiful people. Jeff's dad coaching at Old Dominion. He's got a younger brother that they say is sensational. Duke also had a blowout here in their last ACC game. They blew out Florida State, who to me has been a major disappointment. Not so much losing, but the margin of losses, getting blown out by people.
You better tell them to warm up that bus of yours in the parking lot, partner. It's a 20 right now. And these guys are still throwing up bricks.
You must have saw the bus driver running down the alley.
Yeah. That's 9 straight misses now by the Terps. Their last field goal, 13:47, and it's now 9:23. What's surprising about this is because this game is so important for Maryland right now in the ACC. Turned it over.
When you start this point of the year with 7 losses and 6 losses, every game becomes vital when you're starting to think of playing in a postseason. Hasn't been Super Sunday for Maryland. I mean, it has not been, and Gary knows it.
Now remember, this is a team picked by many to win the ACC this year.
Well, because of 4 starters coming back, but I don't think people put enough emphasis on the loss of Joe Smith in the middle. They played Mass so tough earlier this year. John could allude to that. They had a big lead, and Mass came back and won that game.
Booth puts it back in off the bench.
They're going to stay with that 1-2, 1-1 press. They try to match up on the wings, make it look like a 1-2-2. There's that diagonal. You just throw that opposite the way of the trap, and it's going to be wide open.
Maryland ball.
Number 34, Carmen Wallace.
Georgia Tech has been really super. I know you like Georgia Tech. They're really playing well. Barbarian, Barry and company. Harpering is having a great year. They lost 7 pre-conference games, Georgia Tech. Sometimes you can overschedule. You know, maybe the kids at Maryland losing to Mass, Kentucky, UCLA lost their confidence early. And even though you as a coach know that you're playing tough competition, the kids don't believe in themselves.
Well, we have a moment. Let's check in with John Saunders. John?
All right, Brent, Rutgers in Seton Hall. Jackie Kabah knocks this one down as the Hall had trailed throughout much of the game, but have taken the lead. So Dick Vitale, your alma mater, is up. Is that Seton Hall Patterson?
Hey, I'll tell you one thing, John. They don't claim me too much. I mean, they don't claim that I went to Seton Hall. I did go to Patterson, and they closed the school down, John.
And don't you have Seton Hall next week, Dick?
I have Seton Hall, yeah.
I know you've been looking forward to that game.
Spoke to George Blaney the other day. He's really happy with the play of Danny Hurley.
And there's the schedule on Saturday. Coming up on the Payne Weber College basketball schedule next week. And some people will see Seton Hall and Stanford. That'll be kind of an interesting game for you.
Well, I'll tell you, the Mass game also being played at Xavier. Not an easy place to go. Xavier lost a tough game to Cincinnati.
Beat them by 32.
Wow, you hear that, people in Cincinnati? See, Musburger can say that because he's not going down to Cincinnati. He's not going down there, my partner. He doesn't have to put up with it. I know he wouldn't say that. See, he's a politician. He wouldn't say that if he's coming to Cincinnati, would you? Would you say it?
You're right.
I know. I'm going to Syracuse tomorrow to see Jimmy Boeheim. Syracuse, Villanova.
Oh, Price, great fake, and then coming from behind was Prophet, made him up. Booth's open.
Reverse jam.
So now that's 8 for Keith.
And the 15.
And out of bounds, and now they can cut it back to 13. So 7:51. Duke doesn't want to get sloppy, even though it's been comfortable for him here. They were once up by 20. We've got more. It's Duke and Maryland after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Payne Weber believes the best investment is an investment in education. They salute Ron Prophet here as the Payne Weber Scholar Athlete of the Game and congratulate him. Payne Weber recognizes that commitment to education with a $1,000 donation to the University of Maryland for ongoing research. 3.3 GPA in business administration.
It's fantastic. Doing a job in a classroom. Next year he'll get himself a lot of playing time. Hey, he's a business major. Maybe he wants profit margin, huh?
Booth maneuvering inside. Booth has put up some field goals now. That's 11 points for the game for Keith Booth.
If Maryland's going to make anything happen, they got to do it within the next 3 minutes.
Capel. Short. Maryland ball.
Next 3 minutes, Brent. They got to make something happen quickly. They got to look to knock some threes. Yes, and Cavages is a guy that can shoot the three. Crowd trying to give him a little jolt, get him defensively back, playing focused. Duke.
Prophet, the freshman. And out of bounds. Price. Turnover now to Maryland. Cavages of Lithuania will inbounds the ball. Known as Rooney by his teammates.
Nice pass.
That's the first name. Lucas is hammered by Newton, and that's number 3 on Greg Newton.
Well, the one good thing right there in that possession, you go to the free throw line, you get some opportunities, the clock stops, you got a chance to rotate into your pressure, but you got to convert these free throws. Gary Williams said some interesting things to you, alluded to the fact about agents really creating some problems with some of the players today in college basketball.
Yeah, it's an ongoing problem around campuses. I'm sure that every coach has felt the impact. And what happens, Gary said, is when you have a great player like Joe Smith, the agents come at Smith through other players, and they tell the other players that, look, you're going to be next, you're going to be our next superstar. And in effect, what they're trying to do is get entourage worth signing somebody like Joe Smith.
It's amazing. I tell you, I talked to Kelvin Sampson up in Oklahoma, and he was telling me some stories about some agents bothering him in terms of trying to recruit Ryan Miner. I mean, we got to eliminate the sleazy agents, because there are some good agents. You know Brent and I know them, who do things the right way, but there are those that are so shady who try to blow the minds of young kids and fill them up with some cash early. Well, I can tell every youngster, when somebody gives you something, they're not giving it to you for nothing. You don't want to be a prostitute and sell your body. You want to be able to walk out of college and know you're your own man and you did things the right way. And ultimately, the money will be there.
Been sloppy game.
Very sloppy game. There's been spurts, though, where Duke has played exceptionally well, but basically the game in itself has not had a great rhythm to it.
Triggered by their defense. And now they turn it over again. That's number 24 in turnovers against Duke here today, 65-53. They lead it by 12, 6:48 into the ball keeps going out of bounds here.
The one thing that really has helped Duke is that Maryland hasn't been able to take the turnover and create offense with it.
Rattles out into Newton's hands. The long rebound. He was out defending Lucas.
You want to manage the clock a little bit here. Wojciechowski does a good job stepping in front of the defensive player. That's been the story of Maryland. Frustration, aggravation. Always concerned with the calls of the officials today and not just playing basketball. I mentioned earlier Florida State. I don't know if you've seen that, Brent. I've seen them earlier this year get blown out by Connecticut, but I really like their personnel. I know Pat Kennedy, who does a solid job as a coach, has to really be disappointed with the fact of being blown out by Duke, blown out by Georgia Tech. Something is not right with Collins and Randall Jackson and Corey Lewis and company. That team is just too talented in a year when the ACC is not really loaded with great personnel.
A lot of head shaking going on over there on that Maryland bench, huh, Dick?
Yeah. A lot of frustration, a lot of disappointment for Gary Williams, and I think it all started with the way the season started. Losing those games to some quality teams. I don't think they ever got themselves into a situation where they gained some confidence. I don't care what you do in life, you got to be confident at what you're doing. Good ball movement right there. And this is a veteran basketball team.
Rhodes.
You give them points on the board.
That's a 10-0 run now for Maryland, and they have whittled this 20 down to 10 finally at the 5:57 mark.
We said
so now they've got a shot at him. They have finally got it down to 10. Capel on the miss and Prophet into his hands, and now here's Stokes running the floor again.
We said the next 2 minutes will be vital. There's a turnover right there. We said they got to make a run when it hit the 7-minute mark, and here they are at 5:41. They got it to 10, so Gary's got to put a charge, which he will, and his club's got to respond.
I thought he had picked the ball up over there and that it was not a turnover. I'm inclined to agree with Coach Williams on that. I thought it was a bit of a delayed call on that far side, but nevertheless, it goes against. That's 18 turnovers by Maryland now, and Collins alone rattles it off the top of the rim, and Booth lost the handle.
Alternate possession goes over to Maryland. Spoils a great effort right there by Wojciechowski, who comes out of the pile, forced the jump ball, but because of that silly rule, alternate possession, Maryland gets the ball rather than throw it up. I'll tell you, this is a big possession right now. If psychologically one time they could put it into single digits, I think it will give them a great lift. And 5:32 is an eternity. You better believe it. And Mike Krzyzewski, I know, was feeling that down on that sideline. But this is starting to slip away a little bit. There's the Maryland bench standing up. They want to get back on the court. They want to get back on the court. He's made some substitutions. There's a look at the Duke bench. A little concern, consternation going on. See, I know those big words.
What's interesting is that Stokes continues to run the floor right now for Maryland off the penetration. The second pass is a good one inside. No traveling called there. And now Rhodes penetrating, and Profit will wheel it over to the right side, and the three is right on the money. We are down to 7 as Lucas now hits the three-pointer, and he's got 13 for the game.
Great ball movement by Maryland. They got the ball in the hands of their shooter. Gonna wave it off.
No basket. Foul before the shot. So it is a 13-0 run by Maryland. The last Duke points came at 9:45, and I want to tell you, this brings up again the thing that was very apparent when we saw Duke against Virginia. They are shorthanded, and frequently we have seen and read this year where the starters have gotten tired down the stretch, and we can see that ganging up on them here. Clearly Maryland has more players that Gary Williams is willing to use.
Especially the style of play, Duke. They play so hard, they pour out so much that really fatigue is a factor, no question, late in the game. You can see it on that free throw, how short he came on that free throw, because you shoot with your legs as well.
This is a very fragile Duke team, and this would be a crusher if they blow a 20 here in the Cameron. 66-58, 4:57 now, and the freshman coming right back now for Maryland. Lucas has been a scorer. Rhodes has been able to penetrate. Booth is now cutting off a screen on the right side, and this is Rhodes. Rhodes maneuvering low off the glass, gets it back, and he's fouled. And he was fouled by Price.
I'll tell you, a great play, showing a lot of poise and patience by Stokes. He may be a diaper dandy, but he really, rather than play real quick and make himself throw the ball away, showed some poise and got the ball in the hands of their #1 option, Johnny Rhodes. See, the one thing is you don't want to panic. You're down 8. You got plenty of time. 4:39.
Got to hit the free throws coming from behind down the stretch in the college game.
Got to convert these.
Or any game, for that matter.
So many teams can't win when we get to winning time because they don't convert on a free throw line.
Missed them both, but a rebound put back, and then Profit, and Booth comes out of it, and he traveled. Turnover.
I didn't see a walk there. I know I'm far from the action, but I didn't see him lift the pivot foot. That really hurts that possession. You got 2 free throws, you come up empty, you get an offensive rebound. Right here, there's the block shot, the rejection. Now let's see right here if he lifts his pivot foot. I couldn't see it right there. It looked like a walk to me.
And now it changes back, and they have now ruled another turnover, a violation, turnover out of bounds, and that's turnover 25 on the violation out of bounds. Elliott takes the open shot off the iron. Wallace skies rebound. 4:27, 66-58. Collins, Wojciechowski, Newton, Wallace, and Price on the floor for the Blue Devils. Stokes trying to hound Wojciechowski out on top.
They didn't make life easy for himself in those last 2 possessions. Had a good open shot by Elliott and 2 free throw attempts. Instead, Duke has the basketball, using some clock, trying to manage the clock.
Need to get something out of it, though. They're coming down to 6 seconds, and the foul is called.
It's amazing how Maryland got back in the game, because it wasn't what you would look at a 13-0 sensational run. It's really been the ineptness of Duke in terms of trying to handle that lead and handle it. Duke has not been effective with the big lead. Here comes some rested players for Maryland.
And he's going right at the softest of Duke, trying to keep rested players on the floor, go to that fast break, pressure defense style that Gary Williams has always featured.
And now what he's done, he's brought in the experienced players. He sent them a message. He said, hey guys, I'm telling you, Simpkins, I'm telling you guys, those guys got us back in the game. The young kids, now it's up to you to take us to the next level. Because he had Simpkins and them sitting on the sideline with Stokes playing.
I want to tell you, a sign of a tired team is when you start to miss free throws. Duke is now 7 of 16 from the free throw line here in the second half, and it will really show up if a team is tired at the line.
And they shot so well in the first half. I said a little bit earlier, it's your legs. If your legs are not there, you're not going to make free throws.
Concern for Coach K. 4 minutes remaining.
Payne Weber College Basketball on ABC and Raycom. Brought to you by Payne Weber. We believe our most important investment is an investment in relationships. State Farm Insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Buick and your local dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. And U.S. Navy, you and the Navy full speed ahead.
20. Duke's lead has been whittled to 67-58, a 9-point lead, 3:50 to go. Maryland with the basketball.
Wojciechowski really working, trying to keep the ball out of Simpkins' hands. As you look at the field goal percentage here in the second half versus the first half, both clubs really not shooting well. Got to make the open shot.
Just got it. Nails the three, and it now is a 6-point lead, and that is 22 for Rhodes.
Got to make the open shot, and that's the way to lead, to show your experience. Now look, there's some life in this bench. You can see a little bit better feeling, a little bit more excitement, something that wasn't there early. You see a lot of concern with Duke.
This baby's far from over, isn't it? That's coming up next, the senior skins game from the island of Hawaii. Last 9 holes, Raymond Floyd with a big day yesterday, and here Maryland trying to close with a rush on the back 9. 67-61, they go battling for it.
Jump
the
ball.
possession arrow favors Duke this time.
Isn't that really sad? There's the kids at Maryland making a great defensive effort, but you get penalized because of alternate possessions. I hate that rule. I mean, there's a great defensive effort. Should be a jump ball. Look at the concern of Mike Krzyzewski. Hey, Brent, your son called up. I think it was your son, Blake, and he said, hey, remind my dad, the bus driver's back. The bus driver, you sent the bus driver to warm up the bus with a 20-point lead.
Well, I wanted it nice and warm when they finally go out there.
Oh,
you know, it's a little
see.
chilly here in the Raleigh. You know, we don't want these kids to, you know. Wojo gets it into Price's hands. And now Capel works the baseline. Here is Price, and good, strong Maryland defense. Forces the ball back on the outside. There was nothing easy that time.
Capel or Price have got to be the guys. Their options.
Collins to the corner. Wojo rattles in the trifecta.
I'll tell you one thing. Gary Williams will let them shoot that all day. Wojo, he can't believe it, Gary. Frustration City. Wojciechowski with a big trifecta. In that possession, he's like their 5th option. And Collins on a court, Capel and Price.
He is having a nightmare with the officiating crew. He told them that he called that 20 right away, and they didn't give it to him. I mean, he's lathering a couple members of this crew.
Collins created that with penetration, kicked it back out. Chris Collins, C squared. There's the reaction. Wojciechowski, look at him, emotional. He's got a passion and love for what he's doing. Just think about how big that alternate possession was. They make a great double team, a trap. They think they have the ball. Instead, it goes over to Duke, and Duke hits a trifecta instead of you having the basketball. I don't like that rule. I don't know about you, Brent. I just don't like it because it penalizes good defense.
Oh, I agree with you, Dick. Simpkins.
That was a backbreaker, that shot right there. A backbreaker.
Down 9. Rhodes has to get it to Simpkins, who's the open man. Can he hit the 3? Rattles out. Booth has it stripped away underneath, and the foul goes against Wojo. And Collins says, nope, no lip.
Calm down, calm down.
3 fouls on Wojo.
Chris is such a passionate player and plays with such spirit and enthusiasm. Here comes Newton back on the floor. Got a little rest, got a little break.
That's it. Up. Don't say anything. Just keep it.
Look at the eyes. Look at the eyes. Look at those eyes. They tell a story. Plays hard all the time.
10 rebounds for Booth in this game. He's been a hard worker underneath the glass. He's helped bring him back with those rebounds. Dozen points now for Keith Booth. He's a junior, 70-62, so it's 8, 2.5 minutes.
See, the one thing in the ACC, they're going to beat each other. They're going to compile a lot of losses. I think there are 3 teams who are going to bid in Georgia Tech, North Carolina, and Wake Forest at 4th. I think you're going to look at 4 teams this year under the ACC. Here comes Stokes back on.
Pressure on the freshman to bring him back in here at 2.5. 7-point difference. Duke with the ball and the lead. Wojo is trapped, and he gets it on over to Collins.
Good trail man, 1 step behind the line of the ball, so he can reverse that basketball. If he's 1 step ahead of the ball, they can't find him. They're going to take some clock, some time.
It'll be interesting, Dick, to see who takes the shot here for Duke after they take the time off. Remember, this is a perimeter team.
Well, Collins' guy, or Capel, twice with a big 3 on the outside.
Now it's inside of 5, and they got to go, and they travel. They have turn it over. Good, strong defense now, and Maryland with a chance to cut it to 5 or 4.
Good effort defensively right there by Maryland. They've been a different club in the last 7-8 minutes. Stokes on defense. Offensively, they bring Simpkins in. They bring in Cabbages as well. But Duke has scouted him so well. They know so much about him. They're not letting him get a good look at the 3, Cabbages. He hasn't had a good attempt for a 3. Oh, there's a...
They passed it up. Booth didn't want it. He'll go for the jam, and it comes out. Long rebound. Simpkins to try to save it, but it's out of bounds.
What a big brick right there. I mean, that was an unbelievable brick. He made a great move. Now here goes Booth. I mean, this is a super move. He's taking it up strong. He's taking it up with authority, but it hits the back of the rim. Brick City.
70-63, 153. Williams puts some defensive specialists back on the floor.
Oh, look wide open. They missed Wojciechowski down the court. Oh.
Off Capel, out of bounds. Maryland ball on the turnover. 150 to go. Maryland basketball.
Wojciechowski said, can it get easier than this? It used to be so nice and easy with Hurley, Hill, and Leitner.
Dick Vitale, I'm Brett Musburger. 70-63, Duke with the lead. Maryland with the basketball. Maryland at one time in the second half was down 20. Lob, Booth. Newton is there. Booth battles for it. And Wojciechowski. And now that'll go to Maryland. The possession arrow favors Maryland. Wojo shaken up on the play, down on the floor. And it's Maryland basketball down 7.
No, he made a call. Paparo had a foul before the possession. Paparo made a call, a foul on Wojciechowski before the jump ball. They try to throw the lob. There's the catch. Who takes the ball now? Wojciechowski has it. Oh, they got a foul. See, he calls jump ball from the baseline, but Paparo made an earlier call, and the foul
is against Maryland. That foul is against me. That is a huge turn of events right there, because at the baseline,
it would have went over to Maryland.
It would have gone to Maryland. So this is an enormous foul call by Paparo, who was on the outside, and now he's explaining to Williams. And I believe he is also signaling that a contact lens was shaken up when Wojo went down, and that's why there was a delay. Williams now with the team huddled around him, and indeed that is a contact lens problem. It appears to be on that side over there.
I know about contact lens problems. You know about that this morning. I said, Brent, have you ever worked contacts? I had a problem with mine Nothing more frustrating when you lose a contact or that eye doesn't seem to handle it properly. Look at Gary. You think he's perspiring?
Most folks who just joined us, Duke with 1 field goal in the last 8 minutes. That's how it became a game again, with Wojo moving up to the free throw line. He's 2 of 5 from the line. 1:41 to go now, and Duke leading it by 7. Make it 8.
He's made some big points. Had that big 3-point shot. Nothing was bigger for Mike Krzyzewski than that baseline 3 by Wojciechowski.
Capel, Wojciechowski, and Collins have led the way now. That's 13 for Capel, 10 for Collins, 9 for Wojciechowski in this game. 72-63, minute and a half. Sharunas misses the 3 into Newton's hands and over to Wojo.
He's played a heck of a game, the little guy. He's from out of Maryland. He wants to go back home with bragging rights, Wojciechowski, and he can stand tall today. He made a lot of big plays.
And the foul goes against Dwayne Simpkins.
One thing, if you're looking for positives in your Maryland and Gary Williams, you got to be happy with the effort of your kids. Didn't quit when they were down 20. Could have folded to 10. They didn't do it. Coached in the Big East. I got a big matchup tomorrow, Syracuse, Villanova. You like Villanova? Have you seen them?
Watched them on television. Watched you do one of their games. They've got some nice talent on that team.
Yeah, very impressive with their win over North Carolina yesterday. Playing brilliantly. You got to love Kerry Kittles. Certainly one of the 4 best players in America with Duncan, Canby, Kittles, and Ray Allen, who's Jordanist at times. Just incredible at Connecticut.
13 points, Collins. A 10-point lead, 1:14. Need a quick hoop. And Lucas will take it outside the 3 and hit it. There's the first one.
I'll tell you, he'll put points on the board. He really can score.
107, and they have cut it to 7. We'll be right back to the camera. Dick, there's someone who's missing in action.
Yeah, Trajan Langdon standing right there from out of Alaska. Tremendous player last year, out with a stress reaction to his left leg.
Dick, while I've got a moment, we want to pass along thanks to Chuck Walsh of the SID up at Maryland. He does an outstanding job. I've been around anybody that conscientious all year.
He's a PTP'er, baby. He's one of the best. He's going to make my all SID team. I might pick. I might pick one. All SID team. Pick my all stat team. My all airport team. My all Wojo team.
Fouls on number 15, Johnny Rose, his 4th personal.
They got a date now coming up Wednesday. I love that rivalry. There's nothing like it. I don't care about records. I remember last year here, North Carolina and Duke. I mean, you could talk about all the other matchups. That matchup is so special. Out of Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Why don't you join me, partner? Come on down. I'll take you to dinner.
We got the Pro Bowl, but I'll be watching from Hawaii. It'll start about 3 o'clock in the afternoon over there, but I'll be watching you, Dick.
You're going to be in Hawaii playing golf. I can't believe it.
No, we'll be working hard.
Oh, you'll be working hard out there? Oh, wow. What assignments you get. You must know the boss. I wish I knew the boss as well as you. I wish I knew Mr. Swanson. He makes these free throws.
That's 11 for Steve Wojciechowski.
And he really was so tough at clutch time. He made that clutch 3. And he plays so hard defensively as well.
Remember, the senior skins competition is coming up next. Good move by Booth here at the end. Wallace lets him go, and Keith Booth winds up with 50. He's played well.
I really like Keith Booth. I really believe he's a terrific player to have on your team. He can rebound. He may not be a superstar, but he and Rhodes hug. They know they really they battled back. It just wasn't enough. I'd like to see that. One teammate caring about another. Rhodes just fouled out.
He's the second Turk to foul out. Akizi, the freshman center from Nigeria, also fouled out, and Rhodes leaves with a good afternoon. 22 points for Johnny Rhodes.
Started out 0-4 in a conference, Duke, and then had that big win over Heartbreak Hotel, North Carolina State, when Chris Collins hit a big 3. Les Robinson, if you root for somebody, got to root for Robinson and Brian Mahoney at St. John's, 2 of the nicest people, and they finally got some wins. Yesterday, St. John's beats Georgetown. Felipe Lopez, where you been? He got 25. Played brilliantly, That's been a mystery, the Red Storm. Beat the Hoyers, who were very good. I mean, you talk about Super 8 clubs that you would project as possible Final Four. Georgetown is one of them with Iverson.
I'll tell you, Newton played a strong inside game. 13 rebounds to go along with his 10 points today.
He had a double-double. This little guy played a strong game as well. Wojciechowski made that big three.
And Charunas Shestakevich of Lithuania with a half-dozen points here and a 7-point lead.
He's going to go back to the free throw line. Wasn't that three really big by Wojciechowski? That was the big possession.
That's right, because Maryland would have had the basketball.
It was 6. It was 6 when he knocked that down to get it up to 9. And Maryland was on a real run with this little guy drained the three. It was a rainbow jumper. Look at these fans. I love them. I couldn't spell Duke. That's why I couldn't get into Duke. I couldn't spell it.
What about if they spotted you, the D and the U?
I still was in trouble.
Oh, well, you like Dallas big or small today?
Oh, I like Dallas by at least, I would say, I'd say 10. I like Dallas by 10. I don't think...
According to some, that's not enough.
I don't think they can stop. I don't think they can stop Evan Smith in a running game. I like Cowher, though. You talk about a coach.
Yeah, nice man.
Blue collar. I heard great things about him.
Listen, North Carolina State.
Yeah, I heard great things about him from Jimmy Leland. I know Jimmy quite well, and Jim really speaks highly of him. Look at this. They're trying to jinx him. Oh, they're trying to give him good luck. Trying to give him good luck here.
Barry Switzer has to remember, though, that the game's in Phoenix and not Tucson. Career high for Wojo. The Magic 13 today and the 9-point lead. And Maryland searching for the trifecta. And Dwayne Simpkins has got one. That's his second field goal of the game, I believe. First 3, total of 5. And it's a 6-point game, 26.7 seconds.
2 possessions. I mean, mathematically, you're looking at 2 possessions. Look at Mike. It has not been easy. A 20-point lead. Thought maybe it might be easy. This guy's such a fighter. He'll come after you.
Hey, how about Raymond Floyd? Picked up some skins yesterday, and he was out playing. Did you hear what Don Shula was playing around with the other day? And Shula had a hole-in-one over on the Big Island. He's Raymond's guest over there at the senior skins. They'll probably talk more about that when we ship it over there as soon as this one's wrapped up.
Shula had a hole-in-one, huh?
Second of his life.
It's incredible.
What a way to start your retirement, huh?
Unbelievable. Retiring too soon for me. Don Shula belongs to make any call he wants to step aside, just as a Dean Smith. Certain people earn that right with their success.
80-73. Lucas into Price's hands, and he is fouled now by X-ray hit. And a reminder, we're going to be leaving just as quickly as we can so we can ship you on over to the senior skins competition. This is 80-73, 18 seconds left.
Well, the bus driver finally has turned on the key. This baby is finally over. Senior skins game coming up.
No. He's been out there. It's nice and warm for these
Hey, Louisville had an unbelievable win yesterday. I was thinking about we're coming back here for a Duke-UCLA game later this year. They beat UCLA at UCLA, and they're playing like without 4 starters that were projected before the season. Denny Crumb's club. Jason Osborne and Sanders didn't do the job, and now they're playing without Samaki Walker as well.
So this will take Duke to 3-4 in the ACC, 12-7 overall. Maryland will fall to 9-7 and 2-4 in the ACC. 5 Duke scores now in double figures. 14 seconds to go. In and out. Lucas runs it down, and he traveled. It'll go to Duke. 8.3 seconds. This one long over.
Hey, what about Rutgers Camden? You didn't mention them. They lost 100 games in a row to my alma mater where I got my master's. William Patterson last night. William Patterson beat Rutgers Camden. It's their 100th game in a row they lost.
Tell them to quit fouling. This one's over.
I know. You want to get to that airport. Look at Mike.
I want to get the golf up. There's the golf fans out there. This one's over, baby. Get it over with.
Yeah, it is over. No doubt about it. This baby is history. It's another W for the Dukies. The big thing for Duke is that they've won now 3 in a row in the conference. They were 0-4, looking at disaster because they were on the brink of 0-5 until Collins rescued them with that big 3 against NC State, who has one of the best kept secrets in America. Remember the name, Todd Fuller, the big player at NC State. You're going to hear that name at the next level.
It's really underrated.
Oh, Wojciechowski gets a hug from Capel, and the students love it. Listen to the roar. They know he played his heart out. A Krzyzewski hugs a Wojciechowski. You got to love any guy that pours his heart out in anything he does, and the kid Wojo does that. Wojciechowski gives everything.
That'll do it.
Good no call.
Duke the winner. For Dick Vitale, I'm Brent Musburger saying so long from the Cameron Indoor Stadium. It's Duke 83, Maryland 73. The Senior Skins is coming up from the Big Island of Hawaii. And we will wrap it up right here in Durham. Jack Nicklaus will see if he can take some skins away from Raymond Floyd. Arnold Palmer is there, and Jim Colbert coming off a great year on the senior PGA circuit. He's the 4th competitor. So it is the 2nd day of the senior skins competition. That's next on ABC Sports. And then, of course, next weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, we will have college basketball right here. The senior skins is next. The Duke Blue Devils, a 10